of 150,000 men, women, and children invaded an American city. Whites, Negroes, Indians, Creoles, Cajuns. They came from every corner of the land, their roots in every curve of the globe. Moscow, Indiana, Warsaw, North Dakota, Hamburg, California, Milan, Missouri, Baghdad, Kentucky. Some came out of patriotism, some out of grim necessity, some for a richer life. All came to do a war job. These are the people, a few of them. Thousands more storm through these gates on the graveyard shift and the swing shift. These are the jobs they came to fill, just a few of them. 40,000 workers in 2 great shipyards, repairing and refitting the torpedoed vessels of the Allied nations in giant drop vessels for the Battle of the Atlantic. The shipyards are the main war job, but while these men and women weld and rivet and file and plate, tens of thousands more are working round the clock in the steel mills, the paper mills, the gypsum plant, the aluminum plant, the Army Air Corps repair field, and countless machine shops, foundries, lumber, and textile mills. This could be any one of 100 great American war centers. It happens to be Mobile, Alabama. But the story is the same in every war town in America. A 150,000 people, 10 full military divisions, the civilian equivalent of Rommel's entire African army, bivouacked without warning in the narrow confines of one peaceful southern city. Less than 3 years ago, you might have walked blocks in Mobile without encountering a person. Today, you stop to scratch your head and a line forms behind you. No wonder there's such a chaos and congestion of traffic, and one has to butt one's way into buses at the plants and elbow through thick crowds again in town. Crowds everywhere. Crowds at the pay windows. Block-long lines of white-collar workers outside restaurants. Thirsty shipyard workers on payday waiting their turn outside the state-controlled liquor stores. Overcrowded schools staffed with weary teachers working in double shifts. And still 3,000 in-migrant workers' children had to stay at home this year until accommodations to care for them are rushed to completion. Dingy cafes crowded to the doors, and makeshift tent dance halls in crammed amusement parks. Old Mobile, sedate grand old lady in crinoline and iron lace, thrust aside 240 years of history and tradition, rolled up her leg of mutton sleeves, and pitched in to solve the complex problems created by 150,000 strangers dropped without warning and for the duration into the lap of a little city of only 78,000. Every available room was canvassed, utilized. Many an old magnolia-shaded mansion is now the roost of an orchestra leader turned expediter, a bond salesman turned leaderman. Old warehouses were reopened and peopled with shipyard workers and airplane mechanics. This was an upholstering establishment converted into a dormitory for women war workers. This was a neighborhood grocery store. These girls, welders, checkers, and machinists. This was a garage, now a barracks. Emergency housing for war workers. This man is one, a pipe fitter just checking in from San Francisco. Here, there, everywhere, on vacant lots and fields and creek banks, trailer camps, tent colonies, and shanty towns. All facilities were overloaded. In outlying sections of the city, housewives, to make sure of water for their daily needs, set their alarms for 2 in the morning to fill buckets and pans for tomorrow's drinking and washing and cooking. Mobile's understaffed health department worked day and night on what was really a national rather than a local civic problem, to provide basic sanitation, water supply, and waste disposal. But still they poured into Mobile from every corner of the nation. Farmers, clerks, and little businessmen, Indians, Okies, cowboys, and cotton pickers, hillbillies, Tennessee horse traders, and South American gypsies, answering the government's call for more and more war workers, many of them accustomed to better things, others just in from the brush where they used possums for yard dogs. In Mobile, as in every other war town, the same acute problem arose: homes for workers, housing for the in-migrant armies of industry. Mobile, as every American city of any size, had its slums before the war. But when a nation is at war, it becomes clear that the health and welfare of each affects the health and welfare of all. Lack of comfort, lack of rest, illness breeding in conditions like these mean time lost from production. Each citizen living poorly weakens the fabric of the society in which all of us live. These people and these conditions, too, suddenly become a problem to be faced in solving the health and housing complexities of a congested war town. The government stepped in. Vast housing projects were initiated and opened at low rentals to war workers certified by the personnel and housing offices operated by the plants in which they worked. By January 1st of this year, Congress had appropriated over $2 billion for emergency housing in America's war-boom towns. Here's how some of it was spent in Mobile. These are the slums we have seen. Slum clearance projects had been the local private enterprise of a few high-minded, far-sighted individuals. But in Mobile, such projects as these have become one of the obligations of good government and are being written off as part of the cost of building ships and planes and tanks and guns. They are rented only to certified colored war workers and are equipped with auditoriums, playgrounds, and day nurseries to take care of the children while their parents are working in the war plants. Dormitory units for men and women, accommodating from 400 to 1,200 single workers, equipped with recreational facilities, barber shops, gymnasiums, hospitals, community centers, and low-cost cafeterias, whole towns in themselves. Government-owned trailers moved in to meet the emergency for rent as low as $15 a month per family. 1,700 units to accommodate 7,000 war workers and their families, modern, sanitary, and scientific, built by the Maritime Commission and adjoining the shipyards in which their occupants are employed. These 2- and 4-family dwellings are typical of many of the smaller projects that are being rushed to completion on the outskirts of Mobile. Day nurseries to care for the children of women war workers are another problem the government is undertaking to solve. 5 small nurseries to 150,000 people is inadequate, but more are planned to counteract an important contributing cause of absenteeism and loss of valuable production time. For those that can afford them, there are modern permanent homes like these, built with the help of FHA loans and put on the market at rentals compatible with government ceilings. Decent housing, medical care, adequate transportation. As each of these problems is met, the ratio of production increases. In the shipyards alone, this is already evident. At the beginning, 1 ship was launched every 6 weeks. Today, cargo and combat vessels slide down the ways, 1 every week. And the story of Mobile is the story of every American war town.
they gave us. And if there was a white lady being served by the clerk, you had to wait. She would leave you and go and serve this white lady, white and colored. And you knew the difference, so you went to the one that said colored.
Places on Dolphin Street where you would go to eat, it was segregated. The restrooms were segregated. The lunch counters were segregated. It was accepted. It was understood. That's the way life was then.
When he was about 17 or 18, he got on the streetcar here in Mobile, and the driver asked him to get up to give his seat to a white man. And so John didn't want to get up and give his seat. He said he would have given it to a lady, any female, but he did not want to give it to a white man. The white man told him to get up, I'm tired, going back to the back, and he would not get up.
When they got downtown, I think the bus driver had called the police and what have you. That's when they had it out.
The police came, John was arrested. The wrongness in that just made him want to fight for the rights of anyone who had been wronged, and particularly